Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today we're going to be diving into a deck list, deck profile for my updated Dragapult Charizard post-rotation. I've made changes to it, and I have played it and done rather well. So this past week, in the past 4 or 5 days, I've gone 5-0 at a challenge, and then I've gone 4-1 at a challenge. So I got first place winning a Journey Together booster box with this deck list, and then I got 5th place today, just bad resistance, but 4-1 with the deck. And I'm very pleased with the list. I'm going to talk about a couple of things that I have changed, because I did change one card between these two lists and why I changed it, and yeah, let's dive into it. But first, I want to tell you guys about Top Cut Gear. This is going to be my brand new sleeve company. We are going to be launching in the next month or 2 or so. So coming soon, we're going to be launching with 8 colors, and you can find all the information in the description. And these are the sleeves that I used for this event. These are the Top Cut Gear sleeves, very high quality sleeves. And basically the sell really quickly is we're going to be purchasing, or you're going to be purchasing, a box of 150 sleeves, high quality, for $11.99. So the goal of making these sleeves was to get you high quality sleeves for a little bit less money. That was the goal. I have them packaged in a box of 150, and you can see it's 2 packages of 75. So this sleeves up one deck. I have an entire other deck that I can sleeve here. If you take this box to a regional, you have enough sleeves and one package for 2 days, and ultimately the quality is great. They shuffle smooth. I love the branding. We're going to be making some changes to the box in the future. Like I said, we're launching with 8 colors. I don't want to try to recall them off the top of my head, but you can check out at Top Cut Gear on Twitter, or if you can scan this, it'll go to topcutgear.com. But we're not launched yet, so we're coming soon. We're looking at players to sponsor. We're making some deals, and we're going to be launching some awesome sleeves. So let's go ahead and get into the deck profile. All right, starting off, we have the 4 Dreepy. Of course, any deck that's featuring Dragapult has to have consistency. This is at its core a Dragapult deck, so we're going to be on 4 Dreepy, 4 Dracloak, and 2 Dragapult. So this is the core of our primary attacker in the deck list. Of course, we have the Recon Directive, where you draw the top 2 cards of your deck, you look at them, you choose one goes to your hand, one goes to the bottom of the deck. This is the absolute primary attacker, and it is a phenomenal card. This is broken, right? Like, we all get that Dragapult is one of the best decks in the game. This is absolutely broken. Now, to go along with that, paired with it, we have 2 Charmander and 2 Charizard. This is our like late game attacker. I don't know why I laid it down like this. This is our late game attacker. This is our mid game attacker. This is a energy accelerant with Infernal Rain to get our fire energy onto our Dracloaks when we're setting up. This is the other piece that brings this deck together and really makes it a strong force to be reckoned with. When they see the Charmander on the bench, they have to kind of focus it, and if they don't, they know that a Charizard is coming, and it really just pulls this list together and covers the late game and the mid game really, really well. Against turbo decks, if they're swinging and they have like that 230, 240 HP, 210, you can always gust up and take something down. You have the opportunity to get really aggressive and counter and essentially reply to some of those attackers in the mid game. Now, paired with this list is a 2-1-1 Dusknoir line. Now, the 2-1-1 Dusknoir line, this is my list, by the way. You know, big shout outs to Oscar Madsen, who invented the Dragapult Charizard of recent anyways. Pre-rotation, I was definitely playing a list very, very close to his. This is the way that I'm playing it, that I haven't seen anybody play it, and it is just such a phenomenal inclusion. The 2-1-1 line gives you so much versatility on fixing your damage, fixing your math. You can fix the math with Dragapult. You can use it to do things with Charizard. Of course, we already know that combination with Charizard Pidgeot. This is just so insane, and this is the pivotal piece. This inclusion right here is what makes me feel like the matchup is a little bit favored into Gardevoir. Not much. I'm feeling like the matchup is maybe 55-45, but we have so much options here. Dusclops fixes math for us, Dusknoir fixes math for us, and it's a phenomenal inclusion in the deck. Now, of course, for supporting Pokemon draw support, we do have the Pheasantipity. I was going to say Skibbity. Oh my god. We have the Pheasantipity. You already know how that goes. And then we're going to be rocking the 2 Badoo. We are essentially a Dragapult deck. We're going to be sitting behind the Badoo. We want to go second blind 99% of the times, and we want to be using Itchy Pollen. So we're going to try to set up by using Dracloak and Itchy Pollen. we're going to try to get our bench built and, you know, have something like a couple Dracloaks down, a Badoo, maybe Fez, a Duskull, Charmander, and start getting those things built into our evolutions. All right, that is our Pokemon lines. Let's go ahead and get into our supporters. We have 3 Arven. 3 Arven still feels good. We have enough tools that I think the 3rd Arven is necessary. In the past, we would run 4 Arven for consistency, but we're playing in the Itchy Pollen meta, and we have to account for the fact that a lot of the items that we're going to see with Arven are not going to be useful all the time. But you don't want to not have outs to those items, and you don't want to have no way to get to the tools that we're going to be using. So 3 Arvens feels really, really good. And where I, you know, pulled that 4th Arven and added a new supporter is in the Iono count. So 3 Iono feels really, really good. Honestly, if I could fit a 4th one, I would. Iono is so incredibly strong in this format because as you're being Itchy Pollened, you can use this to see more cards. You know, you cycle your hand to the bottom of the deck, you draw 6, maybe you hit your Dracloaks. If you're using this into a Noctowl engine deck and they pulled their Noctowls, well, now you just shuffled their Noctowls to the bottom of the deck. Iono is insanely strong in this format, so 3 feels really good. Obviously, early game draw supporter, late game hand disruption, so really, really strong. Now for gusting, we're going to be using 2 bosses orders. It's a solid count. You want to be able to get to these, so 2 feels like the appropriate. And then we have a lot of 1-of supporters, and they accomplish different goals. Let me get these out of the way, and we're going to dive into them. We have a 1-of Brock Scouting. I'm really close to making this a 2-of. I really am. This card is a Buddy Poffin or a Dracloak most of the time. Most of the time. Sometimes it's your Charizard for a rare candy, sometimes it's your Dragapult, but most of the time it's just essentially a Buddy Poffin, or, you know, it's not even just a Buddy Poffin. You can grab your Fezandipity and the Charmander. You can do so much with this card. I think that this card is insanely strong because you have the ability to search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon or 1 evolution Pokemon. So this gives you, at any time when you have this card, you can probably play it and get value. It may not always be the perfect supporter for the situation, but this is a super strong supporter. Now, Dragapult lists are going to understand this. We have the 1-of Jacques. This allows us to get 2 evolutions. You know, Dragapult lists I think are running 2 Jacques, and I completely understand. It's a little hard to fit 2 in this list with the other supporters that I have because I did have to make a little bit of room, but Jacques is great. You can grab 2 Dracloaks, you can grab your Charizard and a Dragapult if you're already kind of in that situation. You get the point. It's a very similar. Brock and Jacques go really, really well together. It's crazy how that even sounds. And then my personal favorite that you don't always see in Dragapult lists is Crispin. I feel like you have to have Crispin in this list. I don't have an EXP share, and maybe there could be some room to cut the Crispin and play EXP share and try to manipulate your energy that way. But Crispin for me, it allows me to get really, really aggressive in the early game at times. I'd say it's rare, but really what it does is it doesn't ever leave me. I was finding myself in situations where I was left with a board state that I didn't have an attacker. I couldn't get to one, and the only thing I could do was evolve a Dragapult, and Crispin saves me a lot. I think the 1-of Crispin is a pretty nice safety net, although I guess I could say that maybe it's on the chopping block, so definitely something to consider. And then last but not least, definitely something that you don't see a lot in these Dragapult Charizard lists is Briar. Briar and the inclusion of the Dusknoir line, you already know where I'm going with this. You have 2 attackers that can utilize Briar in Dragapult and Charizard. You have the Dusknoir line that can manipulate damage and the prize number. This wins me so many games. I had a 5 prize turn today. I get often 3 prize turns, 4 prize turns. Briar is the thing that I think unlocks this deck. This deck, in most iterations that you're going to find right now, you're not going to see the Dusknoir inclusion and you're not going to see the Briar inclusion, and I think that's the thing that cracks this list. I absolutely love this inclusion. It feels very, very strong. Let's get into our item count. So really simply, 4 Buddy Poffin. I've been considering going down to 3 and adding another Brock. The problem with that is that this deck really wants to go second, but in the occasional time that it goes first, you lose your dice roll. Not hitting a Buddy Poffin is really bad. If you get Itchy Pollened and you don't have a way to get Pokemon out, that's bad. Now granted, you could take a turn off and then use Brock then, but getting this out early is best. So I'm just going to keep it with the consistency. We need 4 Buddy Poffin. We need to be able to get the Duskull, the Charmander, the Dreepies out. All right, we have 3 rare candy. I think that there's room to potentially go down to 2 on this. But I've got a lot of evolutions, and sometimes later in the game, you really need 1. So cutting 1 feels safe. Cutting 2 would feel risky, but maybe would be optimized. 3 for now feels really, really safe. This sometimes gets us an aggressive rare candy Dragapult into Crispin. This most of the time gets us rare candy into Charizard for Infernal Rain Energy Acceleration. And then every now and then, I mean, like a good amount of time, we're using a rare candy for the Dusknoir as well. Having that many evolution lines, it feels warranted to have a higher count than maybe some of the Dragapult lists are running. For Ball Search, we have 2 Ultra Ball, 1 Nest Ball, and I always throw it in there, 1 Terra Orb. A lot of lists don't use Terra Orb. I think this item is insanely clutch. It's a little bit greedy because when you're running Terra Orb, you're cutting down on your universal search with Ultra Ball. So like you could just go 3 Ultra Ball, 1 Nest Ball. That's fine. I think that this item is just, it makes the list feel like you're saving cards. It feels like you're optimizing the list by throwing in a Terra Orb for me. So naturally, this is our search. You get the point. The 1 Nest Ball helps us find an early Pokemon or helps us find the Pheasant Skibidi. So yeah, I said it. Recovery, we have the Night Stretcher and the Super Rod. It's thin. You know, you don't have the Charizard double Super Rod, so you got to be careful, but we do have some recovery. For early Energy Search, just to kind of get things moving, we have Energy Search. Honestly, this card might get cut too. I'm going to be honest. I'm not running the TM Evo, so Energy Search into TM Evo is not necessarily something that needs to be played, but Energy Search feels consistent for finding the Psychic Energy because we don't have a direct search for it. We don't have a Pidgeot, so Energy Search is probably going to stay. And then for Item Gusting, we have the 1 Counter Catcher. The 1 Counter Catcher, I would love to make that 2 as well. There's definitely some potential cuts that could be made for a 2nd Counter Catcher. It's just tough. This is the list as it sits now. Feel free to play with it yourself. But 1 Counter Catcher feels really, really good. You are going to probably fall behind in prizes, so if this can be your first gust into your 2 bosses orders to close out the game, that would feel really good. All right, so that's our items. I believe we are going to get into our Ace Spec item and then our tool. So let's go ahead and finish up with the Ace Spec item. We have the Unfair Stamp. It's nuts. You get it. It goes well in Dragapult. It goes well in Dragapult Charizard. This is just a nuts card. I don't really feel like I need to explain myself on this one. So that's what we're using. All right, for the tools, we are going to be using Rescue Board. This helps us get our Badoo into the active. This helps make our Fez not a target to get locked down. It's just phenomenal. We have the Arven to get to it. Rescue Board is one of the plays to go with. I recently removed the TM Evo. I just wasn't using it enough, and I think that not having that as an option, like before I was like, oh, I want it as an option just in case. No, I'm not using it. I'm using Itchy Pollen. So we cut the TM Evo for a Defiance Band. This fixes math. You know what Defiance Band does. If you're a Charizard player, you should definitely understand this. Defiance Band adding 30 additional damage when you're up in prizes, very, very strong, and has helped me quite a bit. And last but not least, to help win the Badoo Wars, it's not a Bravery Charm. It's a Luxurious Cape. The Luxurious Cape adding 100 HP to your Badoo is freaking insane. It's insane, and with a list that has Charizard, I don't care if they kill it. I don't care. They're going to power up my Charizard if they kill this. It is risky. It's definitely something that, like, when they don't kill it and you end up retreating it and it sits on the bench, you have to always remember that there's potential that they're going to take 2 prizes rather easily, but they're not going to do it unless they pull it to the active and take it with a knockout. They can't use bombs, they can't use damage counters, so it feels like it fits this deck well, actually, because of the Charizard. So those are going to be our tools. With the 1-of Stadium, Artisan. Honestly, I might cut this. I'm thinking about cutting it. It's nice when you need it. A lot of the time I use it as a deck search option. That's probably a skill issue, but it's great. The 1-of Artisan is helpful, though. You can't deny it. A lot of decks run it. That's why it's in here. As for our energy count, we're going to be running the same old 5 Fire and 2 Psychic. The 2 Psychic, this is where you have to watch your recovery. Watch for it to get prized. I've seen some similar list to this run 4-3. I can't make room to put more, but this is where it's at. So friends, that's the deck list. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle and maybe do some test hands. So give me just a minute. All right, I feel like that's a pretty decent amount of shuffling. I'm not going to necessarily do test hands, but I'm probably going to do like one mini game of solitaire or something. So let's go ahead and finish up a few more shuffles and let's get into it. So let's draw our 7. Find our basic. See, and this deck mulligans every now and then. You got to be aware of that. Let's say we're going 2nd because that's what we want to go. So look at the hand. We'll drop our prizes. And we're going 2nd, so, you know, they do their thing. We draw. We have our Dreepy. we're going to go ahead and drop our Duskull, Buddy Poffin. I'm not going to prize check, but we are going to look for a Dreepy and a Badoo. Could get the Charmander out, depends on the matchup. If you don't need it right away, then don't worry about it right away. If it's a turbo deck, you probably want to get the Charmander out. So let's go ahead and get the Badoo out, but otherwise you always want to try to get 2 Dreepy down so you can get that Dracloak engine moving. So let's move that out of the way. And actually, I forgot we have the Artisan attached retreat. So we do have that there. So we'll go ahead and use the Artisan to grab our Charmander. And assuming that they're not going to be... Oh, we might be double Charmander prized, which does happen. So in the interest of that, you know, what you probably would have done is either know that, or you would have looked at your Dusknoir line, because using the Dusknoir could potentially get you a Charmander out. Okay, so we are locked. We can go ahead and go with a third Dreepy. That's okay. So we have no Charmander this game. That's okay. That's happened to me. One of the games I won today, I had double Charizard prize, and I had to find a way out of it because I really needed it. So, and looking at the hand, next turn we have a Dracloak, assuming we don't get Iono'd, assuming the Badoo doesn't get knocked out, and even if it does, we have some options. So let's say they take a pretty passive turn as well. We'll go ahead and draw our Dracloak. Look at the hand, Recon Directive. Looking at the Recon Directive, we got some options. Arvin could help us get an Ultra Ball. Iono, depending on the situation, doesn't sound too bad. So let's go ahead and go with the Iono. So we are going to manual attach the fire, drop the Iono. Get that out of the way. Early game. We might even be Itchy Pollen ourselves. So let's assume we're Itchy Pollen, right? They took a passive turn off. Okay, not a whole lot to do. We do have an energy, but we'll go ahead and pass to them. So again, let's say it's a Dragapult game. So they pass back to us. We'll go ahead and manual attach here. Use our Dracloak. Crisp and Iono. Iono it is. Depending on how the game's going, we may just rip another Iono. Can't use items, right? Let's rip another Iono. And eventually, you're going to hit. Eventually, you're going to get to that Dragapult. Eventually, you're going to get to more of those Dracloaks. And then, it's just all about playing the game right. Going for the right targets. Okay, so we've got our Dusclops. We've got our Dragapult. And if the situation was right, we could get aggressive here. You know? And this is just standard Dragapult gameplay at this point. So you understand how the deck functions. You want to play behind the Badoo. You want to get the Charmander built out at some point. Sometimes you're going to need it a little bit earlier than others. If you're playing against a turbo matchup, you want to get the Charizard out. You want to get that Charmander down. You know, sometimes if it's the right, like I said, if it's a Joltik box, if it's Raging Bolt, you probably want to bench out 2 Charmanders if you can. The Dusknoir line is sometimes something that you want to bring out later, and the Charizard is something that you want to make sure that you can guarantee to have out, so they don't just boss up, kill one Mander, and then you have no way to get to it. So friends, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Feel free to ask questions about the list, but this list has been running really hot for me. I don't know why I just smacked my desk like that. Really, really hot for me, with a 5-0 finish to win a Journey Together booster box, and a challenge win, and then a 4-1 finish to get 5th place at a challenge. So friends, thank you so much for watching. As always, drop a like on the video, subscribe for future Pokemon TCG content. Be sure to comment over there, tell someone you love them, and I'll see you on the next video.